My name is Paul Mitchell. I'm a professor of agriculture and applied economics at the University of Wisconsin in Madison, as well as director of the Rank Agribusiness Institute and extension state specialist in cropping systems management. In this short video, I'm going to do a presentation I gave at the Wisconsin Economic Development Association's fall conference in 2020, October 1st and 2nd. It was part of a panel, and the panel was titled Alternative Agricultural Opportunities, and I spoke about organic cured meat as a possibility here. And first up, before I even get started, I got all the photos up there of what organic cured meat is. I want to talk about what curing is. So cured meat is, the examples here are the things like the hot dogs in the top left there, beef sticks in the middle on the left, deli turkey there on the bottom, or things on the upper right there, the ham, or of course bacon down the bottom on the right. And think of all the standard kind of things you put on a charcuterie board. The point is, it's not raw meat, like you would buy a pork chop or a steak or something like that. So what I want to start with is how this is a map of the U.S. It's food processing companies by county, the number of them, and the darker blue it gets, the more companies there are in that county that produce food. This is work from Steve Deller at the University of Wisconsin as well in my department, Ag and Applied Econ. And what you'll see quickly is the large urban areas have more of them. Obviously, you look at Southern California, the San Francisco Bay Area, around New York City, Boston, that area, Southern Florida, even see places like in Texas, where Dallas, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Austin, and Houston pop out as dark blue. I want to point your attention to, though, is the up along Lake Michigan there, from southwestern Michigan all the way around the lake, in a big arc with, Chicago, Milwaukee, and even Madison, Dane County popping out there. But see that band of that darker, it's not the dark blue like the urban areas, but it's the darker blue. And it shows there's not much else is like that are in other parts of the country there that have that large of expanse, that contiguous group of counties that with a lot of food processing. Very little of our food is actually eaten raw, at least it's washed for us and packaged, cleaned, outer leaves taken off if it's fresh produce, all the way to something that, it's actually cooked, like a tomato sauce or something like that. And what you see is a large concentration of these companies in that arc around the Lake Michigan. And there's not really a band like that elsewhere that's in a less urban area. You see along the East Coast from Boston all the way down to the Washington, D.C. area, that's a large group, but it's also got a huge number of people in that area. We don't have a huge number of people. Chicago is about to hit 10 million here soon, but yet there it is, that large food arc. So we have a lot of food processing here in the state of Wisconsin. Now I want to look at more carefully is what kind of food processing, what companies are there? And this, again, is work from Steve Deller as well. And what you'll see, a couple things. First off, it's well known Wisconsin's #1 in cheese production. So this is that dairy processing group here. And then there's also bakeries show up a lot, and then in fruit and vegetables. People don't realize, but Wisconsin has the second largest processing vegetable industry in the nation, putting vegetables in cans or freezing them. California dominates that one as #1, primarily with canned tomato products like tomato sauce. Then Wisconsin second with a lot of things like canned sweet corn, canned green beans, canned peas, carrots for processing, beets, things like that. The other thing I want to point to in these areas, the dairy, the vegetables, or especially the bakeries, these graphs are the size of the companies. And so you look at them, you see there's like dairy processing, there's a few large ones, and then there's a lot of them in the middle there, mid-sized ones. Fruit and vegetables, a few small ones, and then there's more small ones, and then a few very big ones. Bakeries are dominated by lots of little ones. Then I want to look now at meat. Meat, we've been talking about organic cured meat, so we'll look at the meat processing facilities here in the state. And what you'll notice is we have a few big ones, like JBS and American Food Groups up in the Green Bay area, the Green Bay Packers is meat packing. And we have it's 4 or 5 of them are very large, over 1,000 employees. But you'll really notice there's a lot of small ones, much like the bakeries in that. It's not mid-sized like the dairy processing, they're small ones. So now we'll look more carefully at this meat processing in Wisconsin. You see quickly that, a fourth of them are in that 1 to 4 employees, so very small. And you can see where they're concentrated at, the Green Bay, the Brown County, Milwaukee, Madison, again, in the urban areas, and then several on the edge here with over by Minneapolis, St. Paul. But most counties have a few, at least. And in 2017, we had 139 of them, and they had total sales of $8.6 billion and employed over 16,000 people. Yet the size of this industry, in terms of red meat slaughter, we're not even on the top 10. We're at number 14. And that's because most of these states, if you go back a few slides to that food processing, these plants out here in these darker blue areas in Iowa are often meat processing plants, slaughter plants for bringing in large volumes of hogs or beef, cattle for red meat slaughter. Also, the number 14th in red meat doesn't include poultry, which is going to be states like states like Georgia and some of those. Arkansas will have a larger industry there. And so, really, what I'm trying to make is that we do have a good amount of meat processing here in the state, generally dominated by these smaller companies, with 1 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to 20 employees, that kind of size. The other thing is that we're actually very good at it, the cured meat side of things. You can go through lots of different ways. The one that really stuck out to me is a few years ago, back in January of 2019, the German Butchers Association was here in town in Madison, where I'm at, and they did an international meat judging competition. It's called IFFA Quality Competition. I don't know what it stands for. You can see it here in this picture I took on the right. These three gentlemen are doing the judging of some sort of sausages, it looks like. But you can see in the back there, IFFA is one of the sponsors, and I don't really understand the German wording up here. But it was a competition judging cured meats, see how good they are. And then what they did, there was 460 entries from in the U.S., 42 butchers, different companies or organizations, these shops. They gave 351 gold medals, meaning they thought that stuff was that good. They gave it a gold medal. And the overall winner was Louis Finer Meats of Cumberland, won 31 gold medals, first place in sausages. RJ's Meats of Hudson, also kind of up in that same area, up along the edge over there by where Wisconsin gets close to Minneapolis, St. Paul. In Hudson up there, that shop won first place in ham with 10 gold medals and second in sausage with 18. And these are pictures there. You can get on the internet and see their photos of their shops. The point I'm trying to make is that we're good at this stuff. We have very good cured meats here in the state, and a lot of these are smaller companies. So switching gears kind of now, instead of talking about cured meats or processed meat, we're going to talk about organic ag. Wisconsin is nationally prominent in it. This is the USDA survey of organic farms in the U.S. in 2016. You can see California number 1 at 2,700 and then some. Wisconsin number 2 at almost 1,300 organic farms in the state. Over 200,000 certified acres, $255 million worth of organic sales from these farms. This is 9% of the organic farms in the U.S., but it's only 4% of the organic acres and 3% of the organic sales. It's states like California dominate with they have larger value sales coming off of their vegetables and such like that. But you can see we have a lot of organic farms here in the state of Wisconsin. We're waiting for the new survey. The 2019 survey should be coming out here pretty quickly in 2020. Now, what kinds of farms are out there in this organic world? Everyone kind of expects, yes, we have organic dairies. Milk is, we have 453 farms back there in 2016. 18% of the organic milk farms in the state, dairies, farms, but 9% of the organic sales in the U.S., with about $126 million worth of sales in 2016. We actually have more organic beef farms than dairy farms or farms selling milk. 17% of the U.S. is beef farms. Again, about 10% of the production. So you can see there's some larger ones out there. But it's not that much money. It's only not even $16 million. So it's a different size of a market. Surprisingly to me was we have 20 Wisconsin has 20 organic hog farms selling organic hogs. That's 13% of the farms in the U.S., but they capture well more than a third of the organic sales of hogs and pigs in the country. It's only 2.6 million. Again, a very small industry, but we dominate right now. We're the largest one with over 37%. Then you got other broilers. Doesn't take very many broilers. We have 8% of the U.S. farms selling broilers, but we're not even on the radar. Not even 1% of the sales. Not even $1 million. And then, of course, you got field crops there. Corn and soybeans, hay, and things like that. And then vegetables is another one. We have a large sort of these organic vegetable farms that are selling at farmers markets, CSAs, things like that. $25 million worth of sales, but it's only 1% of the U.S. So you can kind of get a sense of the one thing I would like to really focusing on, given our talk today, is things like the beef and hogs, how we actually have a decent number of those here, 500 beef farms over that selling organic meat, beef, and then the hogs, how much of a large proportion we have of that market. So it's pretty obvious to me, why don't we link these two, our excellence in cured meats and then our excellence in organic, and we have two areas of excellence. Why don't we merge them, link them to create a new market? Organic meat seems like an obvious area of expansion for Wisconsin, especially in that cured meat side. not the raw meat, not steaks and pork chops, but things like your beef sticks and sausages, bacon, ham, deli, turkey, hot dogs. Organic cured meat has been growing nationally, about $150 million a year more in each sales each year. So it's been on an upward trend. The curing, they have to have a curing powder. It's a combination of salt and usually sodium nitrite. Those two make the primary ingredients of curing powder. It preserves the meat, preventing the salt and the sodium nitrite prevents botulism, and that's why people have been doing this for centuries. But it also colors the meat, gives it a little bit more of a darker color. That's why raw meat and cured meats look different. Sometimes and often very commonly they add sodium nitrate and potassium nitrate as well as some other vegetables like beet and parsley, again for flavor and again changing the color. Uncured meats are essentially just using natural sources of nitrites. Often celery salt is the primary source of where they get the natural curing powders, and so then they can call it uncured meat. The real problem is what's been happening is that we don't really have organic sources of curing powders derived from, most of them are available, are derived from conventional grown celery. And the National Organic Program, the National Organic Standards Board has given allowances to allow them to use non-organic sources back in 2007, 2012, 2017. But the program is getting tired of this. They said they want to end it. They want the 2017 five-year allowance to be the last one. And so that's sort of where we come in here at the University of Wisconsin and some other University of Florida. We have a USDA grant that just started about a few months ago, Organic Agriculture Research and Extension Initiative, OREI. It's a project here at UW-Madison. Erin Silva is the lead on it. She's the organic specialist in the plant pathology department. Jeff Sindelar is in animal science. He works with meat processing. Then myself in the Ag and Applied Econ department. Jin Zhao at the University of Florida, again, like Aaron, is in the production side of things, how to grow the celery. Jessica Shade is at the Organic Center out in DC to help us organize and connect into the industry. We have three objectives, assessing the impacts of nitrogen, fertility, your fertility program, the genetics, the variety, and then the environment on the nitrate levels in organic celery. And then we're looking at other crops as well, chard and beets. It's sources for, you grow it, take the crop, and juice it, extract the nitrate from it, and then you run it through a fermentation process to get the nitrite, and then dry it, and you have the curing powder. That first part is how does the crop fertility, and then the overall varieties and some of these other environmental factors, how do those affect the overall yield of nitrite curing powder? And are there different flavor profiles from using other plants like Swiss chard or beets? Objective 2 then is to take the curing powder from objective 1, make cured meats with it, and taste test it with consumer panels. That'll be Jeff will be working on that using this organic curing powder. And objective 3 is my part, helping with the economics and market assessment of the organic celery powder and the cured meat. Where's the cured meat market going in the long term over the next several years? And then how much organic celery do we need to feed that market that's emerging? So that's kind of our overall project. And the one thing I'd like to see is the big thing is organic celery. I think we have a big market for organic celery production here in the state because we can grow celery. When looking around, people might not think of celery as growing in other parts of the country. It can, obviously. California dominates in conventional celery production. Michigan also has a lot of celery production relatively. It's second. It's a distant second to California. But if you look back at that picture here of where the organic farms are, Michigan is not even in the top 10. Michigan doesn't have a lot of organic farms, even organic dairy farms. So I think this is an advantage for Wisconsin. We can grow the organic celery. We have a lot of organic farms. You can have organic celery as one of the crops they can grow. We're going to have to obviously learn how to grow celery, but we do it. The Leach Farms in Berlin, Trembling Prairie Farms in Markinson, both of them have been growing celery. Leach Farms over 50 years. So they know how to grow it at scale. We have a lot of organic vegetable farms, like I mentioned. So we can do this. And then we link that with our meat curing industry, making those processed, those cured meats, I should say, things, the different types of cured meats. So I think we could do well in that market. And I also think it'd be one thing I think we could look at is exploring some of these other unique flavors we can get here. I think of jamón ibérico, the Spanish ham that's grazed from hogs, grazed in the ancient Spanish oak forests is where they eat acorns basically in a certain part of Spain. And we have the driftless area, and we have oak savannas around here. We could easily have the hogs could be out there eating, or the wild or the turkeys could be out there feeding on the wild available plants. Obviously acorns, but other things. And I think it would give us some unique flavor profiles that we could maybe take advantage of, and then add that with our curing using local organic celery. I really think this is an opportunity that the state could pursue. So thanks for your attention, and questions and comments would be given at the presentation. But if you want to reach out to me by email or my cell phone number there, go ahead. So thank you.